Hello, I'm Jean Maguire, and today we're going to talk about walking in the steps of your ancestors or visiting the home place. And so this is a two-parter, and the second part will be about Maud Hockmania, who lived in a homestead. My husband Leroy Kratz and I were lucky to visit my ancestors' homesteads in Colorado. My great-grandfather began a search for land to homestead in the mountains west of Schaefer's Crossing in 285 in Park County, along the south bank of Elk Creek. Towering over the land stands a giant lion's head rocky formation along the mountain. Anton Glassman and his wife Carolyn Dorn made his new home Lion's Head Ranch. He settled in the land in 1885 using his gardening knowledge by cultivating 30 acres of crops in the valley. Anton and his family built a home 14 by 72 feet and 3 barns and a milk house and kitchen, 3/4 mile fence, and total value of $700. He built a large root cellar on the other side of the creek to hold potatoes and produce. Surprisingly, much of this work was done by Anton when he was 60 years old. In 1885, he kept his dream of fish pond by diverting water from Elk Creek, surrounding it by tiny blue spruce trees. And now when we visited, this pond is now dry, but the blue spruce trees are giants. He started the Glassman irrigation ditch on his property to bring more water from Elk Creek for crops like timothy, hay, and oats. And his farm and whitewashed dwelling barn was most extensive and picturesque in the county. It took many steps in the government to get the homestead. He became a naturalized citizen by renouncing his allegiance to Germany in 1890, and his son John Glassman testified on his behalf. And he applied for the homestead in 1886, proved up by 1892. John Morris lived nearby in Pine Grove. He testified, and his son-in-law T.E. Minnie also testified. At all this time, Carolyn stood beside her husband, wife, as a housekeeper, helpmate, and mother to his children, but she died of a stroke at age 60 in Elk Creek, 1891. But my wife and I lived until her death on the ranch continuously. She never got to see the homestead pattern. His daughter Louisa and her son-in-law Theodore inherited the ranch and then sold it to John Jensen in 1920. When we visited, we found it had a foundation, a spring, and a trash heap. The trash held a child's leather shoe and a bottle. My great-grandfather William Criley and his wife Catherine brought up 2 used homesteads, totaling 160 acres along Goldgate Canyon State Road. William first built Catherine fine houses, but they burned down twice, and the third house is now the Criley family holdings. Their great-grandson Richard renounced the property. I stayed overnight in the cabins and visited many times when I was growing up. Produce was stored in the root cellar. They grew potatoes and lettuce in the field where Criley Pond now grows fish. When relatives came to the ranch, Catherine made a special effort to dress up, and with outdoor plumbing, candles for light, big tubs for washing, and water heated on a wood stove and water carried from a well. In 1863, daughter Ellen Gallagher sold the 159 acres to form the beginning of Golden Gate Canyon State Park. Her dream was to save this beautiful land for future generations, and Ellen kept up the correspondence with park staff from her home in Kansas, and she lived to be 96. So when we visited, the house and cabin with fence still remained. My great-grandfather John Dwyer and his wife Ellen found the 160 acres in southwest of where the Criley Ranch sits in Gilpin Canyon, Golden Gate Canyon today. John testified as residence. As far as I can learn, about 8 years ago, I purchased this from James McNulty in 1980, established my residence, Family Valley, 1.5 stories, and good outhouses, all under fence, valued at $1,000. Wife and 9 children. Have only been temporary absent, and some of us been here all the time. I have 25 acres, 6 crop, good agriculture and grazing, good stable and horses and houses, 5 years residence, and he had several people witness it. He received his patent in 1888. John and Ellen's daughter, Catherine, became interested in William Criley, and since he had 168 acres northwest of theirs. So they lived on the Criley Buttes Ranch that I talked about previously. My second great-grandfather, David Mathiasen, and his wife, Mary Jameson, their growing family needed a homestead, so David settled in what is now Weld County near Erie, Boulder County line, about 1864. He purchased 160 acres for $1.25 an acre, amounting to $200 in 1863, and received a patent. David pioneered frame housing in this area because at that time Boulder didn't even have frame houses. And there he had people testify that he's a citizen of the U.S. And in 1864, he erected a frame house, wood floor, door, windows, comfortable house to live in. And that's where he has an exclusive home. Homestead file has two of his signatures. And in 1980, when we visited, the land was a small community airport, but the old wooden fence post and barbed wire were still visible. Further afield, we went to Ireland. We're lucky enough to visit the ancestral Maguire Castle in Enniskillen, Northern Ireland. And the Watergate and Keep were still there, but the rest had been reduced by Cromwell's forces. The gift shop provided with t-shirts, mugs, and videos of the Earls of Enniskillen Castle, and my ancestor Hugh Maguire was featured in the video. While we were in Scotland, we toured the Isle of Skye and enjoyed seeing many shops with the name Matthias above the doors. I met a man on Ancestry who was searching for the original owners of his home in Chicago. In exchange for my many articles, photos, and stories of the Mullins family who lived in his home, he sent me photos of where my ancestor Morgan Mullins had worked and a photo of the home. So as you can see, walking in the footsteps of your ancestors helps bring them alive. So be sure to watch part 2 of this video, and if you'd like to like this video, please like it and share it. And if you'd like me to give a talk to a clever organization, contact me at Jean@mylegacymovement.com. Thank you.